Hey YouTube, this is Lucy from KBeautyHobbit.com. In today's video, I'm going to take you through a step-by-step example of a classic Korean beauty routine and give you some of my tips and some thoughts. The 10-step K-beauty routine has been becoming more and more popular. I think most people have heard of it by now, but it can still be somewhat confusing if you're just starting out, especially if you're trying to create your own routine from different brands and different products and are trying to figure out how it all is supposed to fit together. In my Facebook group, Korean Beauty Fanatics, I get questions about stuff like that all the time. So I thought I'd sit down and show you some examples of the different steps and then talk about each one briefly. The products I'm going to show don't necessarily have to go together the way that they are. This is not an example of a complete routine with these brands of products. These are more examples of each specific step, but as far as putting different brands and different treatments together for your own routine, you're going to have to do that yourself based on your skin needs, your budget, and any other preferences. So these are just going to be examples. Please don't take this as an example of a complete routine and something that you personally have to follow. This is just an example. And I think instead of simply talking about each step, it just helps to show different things. So that's for entertainment purposes also, I suppose. Before we really get into it, I'd just like to remind you that I'm not a dermatologist, I'm not a cosmetologist, I'm just somebody very passionate about skincare who has spent tons of money and time looking into different products, so I have a certain level of experience, but definitely when in doubt, see a dermatologist and do your own research. Step number 1 is going to be a first cleanser. The purpose of the first cleanser is to remove makeup and any oil-soluble impurities such as sunscreen and excessive skin oil and things of that nature. It can be a cleansing oil or a cleansing balm, such as this one. This is the Fig Cleansing Balm from the brand I'm from, but the cleansing oils and cleansing balms do basically the same thing. It's just a different vehicle. So you would apply this to dry, dirty face with dry, clean hands, massage it on, let it dissolve the makeup and everything else it's supposed to dissolve, and then add a bit of water, which would emulsify the product. That's true both for the oil and the balm. So the product will turn white and then rinse off cleanly with water. Does not leave an oily residue despite of it being a cleansing oil or cleansing balm. I would say that was a huge game changer for me when I discovered Korean beauty. Before that, I was still very diligent about skincare and I always washed my face. I never went to bed with makeup on or anything like that, but I didn't do the double cleanse and it really does make a big difference. The next step is the second cleanser, and that's going to be a water-based cleanser. Its purpose is to remove anything that the oil-based cleanser in the first step missed. So it will wash off anything that remains of that first cleanser and basically further clean the skin. The second cleansers come in all different shapes and sizes. It can be a cleansing stick, it can be a cleansing foam such as this one. This is the new Purito from Green foaming cleanser. It comes out, let's see if I can show you, it basically comes out like a white, sort of like a paste almost, and then you just foam it up in your hands. Or it can be something that is in a pump bottle such as this. This is Neogen. And this one's really cool. It has little cranberries inside. I don't know if you can see that. They have a green tea version with some green tea leaves in there. This one is the cranberry one. But regardless of the vehicle, the second base cleansers, they all have the same purpose of removing anything missed by the first cleanser and also removing anything that is left of the first cleanser on the skin. This is probably something that most people are familiar with, especially somebody who was already into skincare. I mean, most likely you're already washing your face with something, and most likely it was a water-based cleanser of some sort. The next step is exfoliation. It does not need to be done daily. This is something more in the line of once a week or maybe a couple times a week. Just depends on your skin condition and the product you're using. It can be a peeling gel, such as this one. This is the Swanee Cocoa Soft and More peeling gel. I've reviewed some other ones on my blog, KBeautyHobbit.com. It can be a physical exfoliator such as a scrub, or a chemical exfoliator such as this one. This is Womisa Charcoal Chai Tea Pore Refining Glow Pad. And these are basically just peeling pads. They look like this. A very, very well-known peeling pad is by Neogen. So they have a green tea, a lemon, and a wine variety. So that is something you would use 1 to 2 times a week depending on your skin condition. Again, not every day. And that is used after you've done your second cleanse, and then you move on to the exfoliation. After that comes a toner. Now, when I was little and I watched my mom do her skincare, she used something called a tonic, and they were mostly a cleansing thing. It was an astringent product that was meant to remove whatever your cleansers missed, and it is something you put in a cotton pad and then wipe off. I don't know if you remember the really old school like Clearasil commercials. They would have something like that where you'd saturate a cotton pad and wipe off and look at all the dirt that it lifted. A K-Beauty toner is nothing like that. It is not a product like that. The purpose of a K-Beauty toner is to hydrate your skin, to balance the pH, and to get it ready for the next skincare steps. All the toners are different. They're going to have different purposes. For example, this one is an exfoliating toner. So this one is okay to be used daily, but it has some mild exfoliating acids. There are some toners for acne-prone skin, like this one. And this one is very watery, so is this one. Some are thicker. There are some hydrating toners like this one, although most toners are hydrating and then have some sort of added benefit like the acne care or the exfoliation. This one's just pretty much hydrating. The toner can come in a form of a mist, such as this one, or it can be a bottle like these. I'm having a hard time holding all of this here. This is not even all the toners that I own. The toners is a category that I tend to overbuy big time. I don't know why. And then I got some PR as well. And then you can also have a toner pad. This is different from an exfoliating pad that I showed in the previous step. A toner pad, while some of them have very mild exfoliating ingredients, the purpose of a toner pad is not usually to exfoliate. It's still to balance the pH and get the skin ready for the next steps and to hydrate. So these ones, it's going to white them out, but hopefully you can see they're little smaller pads than the exfoliating ones, although that just depends on the brand, but definitely softer. So that step is toner. And you can also layer your toners. So you might use a little bit of an exfoliating one and then maybe follow with a hydrating one. Or if your skin is very dry, very dehydrated, you may do more than one layer of a hydrating toner. Sometimes that's referred to as 7 skins. Skin is another term that K-Beauty sometimes uses for toner. And 7 skins is a method of layering your toner up to 7 times to achieve ultimate hydration. If you're going to do that, pick a toner that is mild, that is nourishing, that is hydrating, not a toner that is exfoliating in nature. Do not layer acidic toners. That's going to be too much for most skin. Hopefully until now it's been pretty straightforward and clear. So we have your first cleanse, second cleanse, exfoliation a couple times a week, and then the toner. And this here is where it starts to get a little confusing. The next possible step is essence. I say possible because some people skip it. Most people don't skip toner, but a lot of people skip essence. And essences are all very different. The kinds that I prefer are still going to be nice and thin and watery, kind of like a toner, but they will have a higher concentration of beneficial ingredients than a toner and have slightly different properties and different goals. So one example is a watery essence like this one. This one is called a Quad Active Boosting Essence by Wishtrend. The purpose of this one is to boost the effectivity of the following products and then also soothe the skin. But sometimes you have essences like this one. This one is a bubbling essence and it's kind of an all-in-one product. It's a bit thicker and it a lot of the times replaces everything for me, even lotion. So all essences are different. However, most essences that I've seen are still more like this one. They're watery, they're thin, and they're used after toner. sometimes brands take liberties when naming their products, so it's always a good idea to read the directions and the instructions on the specific product that you're considering or the specific product that you already bought to see when it's supposed to be used. A lot of them will say if it needs to be used as a last step of skincare, or maybe if it needs to be used right after cleansing. There is such a thing as a first treatment essence, and even though that's an essence in the name, those words first treatment usually means that it's used before the toner. If you're super confused about your specific products, come over to our group Korean Beauty Fanatics on Facebook and you can ask your questions, and we're going to do the best that we can to help you figure it out. An optional but very popular step is a sheet mask, and they can be used either after toner or sometimes after essence, depending on what products you're using, and sometimes instead of essence and instead of serum, because what saturates a sheet mask is usually some sort of essence or some sort of serum. So a lot of the times when I'm using a sheet mask, which is maybe once a week, sometimes I used to do it daily, but anymore I find that wasteful with all the packaging, and even though it's recyclable supposedly, I don't know how effective the recycling programs are, so I'm more lean toward wash off masks lately. But either way, when I do use sheet masks, I would typically cleanse my face, do the toner, then a sheet mask, and then straight to a moisturizer. But everybody's a little different. Some people will do a sheet mask and then a serum afterwards, but this will typically be either instead of your essence or instead of your serum or instead of both, depending on the sheet mask. There are cleansing sheet masks that bubble up and cleanse your skin, and just like I said before, it's best to simply refer to the instructions on the specific product. Most sheet masks, however, will say to use them right after toner. The next slightly confusing product category is serum. Typically, and I say typically because again, every brand names their stuff however they feel like and all the formulas are different, but typically serums are going to be a little bit thicker or a lot thicker than an essence, and have even more beneficial ingredients and have more specific goals like anti-aging, brightening, things like that. I have some to show you. I have this ought to be one with beta glucans that is soothing and anti-aging. I have this Purito one that's more of a gel, and it's an unscented centella serum that is supposed to soothe irritation and help heal breakouts. Then I have this Ampoule one with hamamelis, which is another word for witch hazel, and this one is supposed to control excessive oil production. This one's really cool, and that's why I grabbed it. It has a little roll-on, and so you just roll it onto your face in the problem areas. You can keep this one in the fridge and then use it in the morning. It can be used all over the face, and it just kind of depuffs the face, the rolling motion, and then the serum inside kind of helps control excessive oil production. So serums can be all different. They come in all different packages. Some of them look more like gel, some of them are more liquid like this one, and every brand just does the best that it can to capture your business and catch your eye. So this one has a little dropper. So far we've cleansed, we maybe exfoliated, we toned, we used a sheet mask or an essence, we used the serum, and the next potential step is an ampule. And this is where, again, people get really confused. I think most confusion that I see online is in the essence part and then in the ampule part. The serums, I think people mostly have figured out, and the other steps, but the whole essence, ampule, serum. So when I first started reading about Korean beauty and started experimenting with it, the consensus online was mostly that ampules will have even more beneficial ingredients and be even more robust than serums. However, using Kbeauty for close to, I think it's been about 4 years now, I can tell you that ampules are just all different, and a lot of the times they're pretty much the same as a serum. They will vary brand to brand and formula to formula, but a lot of the times serum and ampule are interchangeable. Here's an example of one. This one is a brightening ampule, and it comes with a dropper, and that's what most ampules that I've had come in. They come as a dropper bottle, and it's just a milky product here in a glass. packaging. If you are confused as to what order to apply your specific products in, one of the ways you can do it is to go from thinnest, the lightest consistency, to the thickest and the most rich consistency. But still, I would just try to follow the directions on the specific product. That doesn't always work because not every brand will have every single step of skincare that they manufacture. Some brands only make serums, some brands only make toners, some brands will have a couple different products, and so they'll want you to stick to that, and they'll say, okay, use this product of ours after this product of ours, and they don't provide any instructions on how to incorporate their product into your existing routine that features other brands. So in that case, just go from thinnest to thickest, and that usually is going to work just fine. But experiment and see what works best for you. From now on, I think the steps are fairly straightforward. Thankfully, we got the confusing Essence, Serum, Ampoule trio out of the way. The next step, and really this step can be whenever it feels right for you, is going to be eye care. I just have this cream to show you that I put a toothpaste squeezing thing. Have you seen these? They help you squeeze all the toothpaste out of the tube, and I put that on my eye cream because this specific tube it doesn't stay, like it's not metal, it's plastic, so it keeps reinflating and it gets really frustrating after a while, so I just put that on there. This one is Cilia CPP Collagen 80 eye cream. It's one of my favorites. It's very light. So just somewhere in your routine, some people do it when they put moisturizer on their face. They'll put a cream on their eyes, and you don't have to have a separate eye cream. If you just have a very basic good moisturizer for the face, that will also work for the eyes. However, if you're somebody who has combination skin or oily skin, or somebody who uses creams that are, let's say, brightening because they have some sort of acids in them, or they are oil control or pore tightening, something like that, those sort of creams may not be suitable for the eye area, and in which case you may either want to buy a plain moisturizer just for the eyes or a specific eye cream. I like eye creams occasionally, so I use a specific one, but you don't have to. And a lot of dermatologists, including on YouTube, will tell you that eye cream is just marketing. Now that we've cleansed and hydrated the skin, we have to lock all of that moisture in, and we need an occlusive layer for that. So some sort of moisturizer. One optional step is an emulsion. Some people will do both the emulsion and the next step, or some people will do just an emulsion. Emulsion is pretty much another word for lotion, and it's just a thinner, lighter moisturizer. This one is by Benton. People with really oily skin sometimes prefer products like this for daytime. You can sometimes just completely skip it and just use your sun protection as a moisturizer. If you want to use both an emulsion and a cream, you can certainly do that. For my skin, that tends to be a little bit too much, so I typically just stick to one. And I usually go with a richer moisturizer before bed. It can take various forms. It can be a skin oil, like this one. It can be a cream, like this one. This one is by G Organic. I don't know why my camera widens stuff out. If you know some tricks, and I don't have a fancy camera, I just use my phone, which is probably painfully obvious. But bear with me. This is a very nice, rich brightening cream, or sometimes instead of a cream you may use a sleeping pack, which is another word for a night mask, a sleeping mask. I like this one. This is by Purito. All of these will pretty much accomplish the same thing of keeping the moisture inside. That will be their moisturizer goal, and then they will have some sort of added benefit. And when it comes to face oils, they all do different things. And sometimes you can add them to your existing moisturizer and combine the two in one step just to give yourself an extra dose of nourishment. Skin oil is definitely not required, but I would say that a moisturizer of some sort is a must-have to lock in all that hydration that you've put in with the toner and the essence and the serums and all of those steps. In the morning, an absolutely non-negotiable step for me, and should be for you, is sun protection of some sort. For me, I use that right after my hydrating steps, so I don't do a lotion usually or a cream in the mornings. I will just use SPF. And SPF the basis of any SPF product is going to be a moisturizer, and then the sun protection part is added to it. There are some products on the market now that are sun protection serums and such, but most of them are going to be a moisturizer. This one is a Thank You Farmer one. There are all kinds of different SPFs out there. Just pick one that you like. I prefer mineral filters. There are chemical filters. They're a combination. Whatever works for you, just choose one and use it, because it's very, very important. And I talk about that a lot. I have a whole video on my channel about sunscreens if that's something that is of interest to you and you want to explore that further. Those are the steps that most people will probably implement. There are some treatments, spot treatments and different products, wash-off masks, exfoliating masks, patches, things like that that are nice to have, that are additional optional steps. They're definitely not required. In fact, nothing that I've talked about today really is required except SPF. Don't mess with me there. Protect yourself from the sun. But feel free to experiment. In the mornings, a lot of times, all I do is use a toner pad to wipe off any remaining evening skincare and then go right in with SPF, because that's what works for me, because I'm super lazy, but I am not going to compromise my sun protection. So do what works for you. I would say if I were to pick like an absolute must-haves for evenings, I would do the double cleanse and then a toner and probably an essence or a serum, one of those, and then a moisturizer. If I just was super short on time, that's all I wanted to do. Those are probably the steps that I would pick. And I just wanted to mention one more optional step that I still see as very important, and that is something for the lips. You can do a lip exfoliator, such as this one. It's a little scrub by Aritaum. It's a ginger sugar scrub, and it almost looks like a lip balm, but it has tiny particles of sugar inside to gently exfoliate. And then I have this J. Estina little lip balm type thing, a lip mask. It can really be used anytime though. It's very, very reminiscent of the Laneige lip sleeping mask, just a smaller container. And it's actually what I'm wearing right now, but I think having nice moisturized lips isn't just aesthetically pleasing, it's also just a comfort thing, because when my lips dry out, they start to split and crack, and that just really hurts. I hope this video helped clear up some of the confusion that I see online around the 10-step K-beauty routine. By the way, it does not have to be 10 steps. It can be fewer or more. Just do whatever works for you and experiment. Let me know what other kind of content you want to see. Leave me a comment. You can find me on my blog, KBeautyHobbit.com, on Facebook in Korean Beauty Fanatics group, on Instagram at KBeautyHobbit. I'm also on Twitter, although I'm not super active there, but you can find me whatever you like except TikTok. I'm just not that talented. So let me know what your thoughts are and leave me a like if you don't mind, because that lets me know that you're watching and also helps my channel grow, and it's free. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you're having a lovely week. I'll see you in my next video. Until then, please remember to always listen to your skin. Thank you so much. Bye.